Okay, good morning, everyone, again, and let's begin the scaffold and ladder section of our portion of our course here. All right, so I'm going to start with ladders, and I'm going to carry on with scaffolds later on. There. There we go. Here. All right. So a little bit of statistics. Here's the source of where the statistics came from. It is somewhere from the States. However, well, our societies statistically look more or less the same as far as this kind of statistics. So they can vary a little bit from year to year and from place to place. Nevertheless, the proportions are going to hopefully are not going to remain the same. Let's get this thing down. Let's get some numbers down, because when it comes to injury or death, even one is one too many, right? Okay, so here's philosophy 101. Okay, fatalities by okay, so there's statistics of fatalities by event or exposure, and this is taken from the residential construction perspective. Fatalities means that someone actually died due to the whatever the incident was. All right. Now here's a pie chart of by event. So let's see here. Fires and explosions, about 2% of the construction environment. Assaults and violent acts, about 3%. There's goes. And transportation accidents. Okay, the pie chart is filling up a little bit. 14%. Exposure to harmful substances or environments. Well, we're growing in percentage here. Contacts contacts with objects and equipment. Then there's 18%. And look at the huge part of the chart. It is the falls. Well, it's kind of makes sense if I can actually say that, because I would say when it comes to working in the construction environment, well, we do need to elevate ourselves to certain heights, and statistically, we do this thing way more than we engage in, let's say, violent acts, right? So, or there's way more of that happening than we participate in fires or explosions. Right? So, statistically, yes, it is going to be the number of falls is going to be a lot larger than the number of fatalities due to fires and explosions, for example. So that's the pie chart as far as the fatalities by event. Now, next slide, what we're going to do is we're going to take this part of this pie chart and we're going to section that and see what how the falls classify. All right, so let's go here. All right, so this is all the falls. How they classify? Falls from the roof are probably the the most common ones. We are not going to work. Well, this course is not preparing us to work on the roofs. However, we are going to be working on some heights, whether it's just a two-step kind of little ladder, handheld ladder, or is it going to be a 6-foot step ladder or 20-foot extension ladder, or so on. Nevertheless, we are elevating ourselves as far as working on heights. Now, when you're going to be hired, if you get the job in this or similar fields, and if you end up working in the construction environment, any bigger or serious or pretty much any construction environment will require any worker who enters there to provide the worker with some sort of safety briefing. Now, the bigger companies have these events organized in a little bit broader way, So, like for example, if there's a bigger project that you're working on, certain construction site, whether it's a hospital, school, or whatever else, then you're going to designate your first day on that job for spending with the safety officer, and you're going to get some lecturing and maybe some videos played, and at the end of that, you're going to be evaluated with just a short kind of a quiz or some form of that, just to make sure that you understood what was being said to you, what was said to you. Right? And during one of those, I was asked a question, as it is called, like confirmatory evaluation, which means after the whole spiel of a lecture or whatnot, somebody's going to evaluate, but just by asking questions about what the conversation was about. And the question was, how high do you have to be to put yourself in danger from falling? What is there a threshold of height? Is there, so how high do you have to be to worry about injuring yourself? My answer was, well, it doesn't matter. You could be sitting in a chair, and if you fall, you can also injure yourself. So basically, your head, where you're sitting in the chair, is lower than when you're standing, and you can still, if you fall the wrong way, you can injure yourself. Well, it was well received. The answer was well received. So and people do step on 6-foot step ladders. 6-foot step ladder in comparison to like 40 or 50-foot ladder, extension ladder, 6-foot step ladder is much smaller, so it doesn't look like much. But it's not the comparison that we're talking about. It's what actually can happen to you when you fall, even from a 6-foot step ladder. All right, so let's analyze some of the falls from the lowest part. So here's the pink section here. 1% falls from the stairs or steps. Then we're moving up. Well, actually, 1%, 1%. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are pretty much the same. So falls from the stairs, falls on the same level, which is basically you're standing on the floor and you fall on the floor. You can injure yourself quite badly, actually. Fall from other unspecified falls, and fall from a building, grinders or other structural, not grinders, girders, and other structural steel. So that's with the steel industry. So yeah, okay. And then where we go, moving up a little bit, fall from non-moving vehicle. So, well, there you go. Fall from a floor or dock or ground level. There's a bit of a more specific types of falls. And then what's that 9% here? Fall from to lower level, unspecified or not as classified. Okay, so other falls. And then there we go. Here we're going up in percentage. 15% of this whole pie chart of falls classification fall from a scaffold staging. Right. So there we go. Some scaffolds. Okay. And then here's another big one. Falls from ladder. Right? And then we go falls from the roof. And these are all fatalities, right? So yeah, well, like for example, fall from the same level, people could die. Right? You're standing on the floor, you fall on the floor, and fatality can actually occur. So now, when we have the attention, let's take a look at what we can talk about and bring some awareness towards proper usage of ladders. All right, so. Here's the common ladder hazards. All right, improper setup that can create a hazard. portable ladders not 3 feet above the landing surface. Keep that in the back of your mind. We're going to take a look at what that actually means. Landing surface is the surface that's, for example, when you're standing on the ground, put a ladder against the wall and you're going to go onto a flat roof. So when you're going from the ground onto the roof would be your landing surface, right? So when you put a straight or extension ladder, the ladder has to extend 3 feet above the landing surface. So, common ladder hazards. Portable ladders, not 3 feet. If it's not 3 feet, then you're putting yourselves in some sort of danger of falling due to, well, losing your balance or something, not being able to grip properly and hold on to things while you're transitioning yourself from the ladder onto the landing surface. So that ladder has to be extended 3 feet above the landing surface for the situation to be safe. Well, nothing is safe, so I'm going to use the term called relatively safe, right? Because you always should be watching out for things. All right, what other hazards could be? Not securing ladder correctly. Ladders, well, secure. What do you get? Hire a security guard and ask them to watch if nobody's going to steal the ladder. No, that's not the type of securing. Securing is basically fastening ladder to something. So when some sort of imbalance happens as far as gravitational pulls one way or the other, then the ladder is not going to slip and well, fall, taking you with it. All right. Standing on the top 2 steps of a step ladder, we should always stand on the third. Well, the top platform is not actually considered a step. However, sometimes it's the top 2 steps. Well, we will get into it once we get some pictures there, right? But you can't stand on the top of the ladder, and you can stand on the next thing that you can stand on, whatever you're going to call it, whether you're going to call it the last step or the first one, the last step or top 2 steps or the second top, depending on what you want to label it. Here's the top of the ladder, and there's something you can stand on that looks like a step. Right below it, on those 2 things you cannot stand, is the third thing you can stand on, which would be the second last step, really, if you don't count the top platform. Here's the thing, overreaching when working from a ladder. So for that, I'm going to fire up my board. So when we get to it, I'm going to this would be something like a review from grade 12 or grade 11 physics. And it has to do with the center of the gravity and the size of the base. If the center of the gravity of whatever stands or whatever the object, if the center of gravity goes beyond the base, things fall. Not maybe, they will fall. All right, I got this thing set up, so when we get to it, we'll get to it. All right, let's keep going. A bit of an anatomy of something that's called a step ladder, right? As opposed to extension ladder, or if there were no extension ladder, it would be a straight ladder. All right, so let's take a look at the step ladder. Typical step ladder. Here is something called a paint shelf. You should not be standing on that. This is not designed for us to stand on it. If we do stand on it, there's a huge chance that we're going to break this thing and come down. Not in a way that we want to, right? There's a top cap. See, that's what I meant. Top cap, top platform. 1, 2, 3. If you consider that as a step, some people call it a step, so then you should be standing on the third last step, right? But we're not supposed to be standing here. we are not supposed to be standing here. This is as high as we can stand on a ladder. And remember, thing that I keep always saying, nothing happens until something happens. You could be standing on the top cap here and do your work whenever you want to for 100 years and nothing's going to happen to you. Well, okay. But it could be the next 5 seconds you can stand on it and right away something can happen. And then what do I mean by nothing happens until something happens? When something happens, actually, then you're going to have to answer all bunch of questions by people who are some sort of officials, and that can affect the way you're going to be treated, right? So always keep that in mind. All right, so here are the steps. Here's the front rail. Here's the rear rail. This thing here is not a step. Is a rear brace. It's a brace. These are braces. This is not supposed to be stood on. It's not designed. It will collapse or it will make the ladder weaker, can damage in a sort of way, so it could be unsafe to use. And we do have some feet and the foot paddings. Okay. And here's a nice important thing here. This is a step ladder. It's kind of used as an inverted V, so to say. This spreader assembly should be fully extended and locked. It almost has something like a camming function, right? So you extend it and then push it just a tiny so it locks onto it. There's no lock per se, but it's just self-locking mechanism there. So it just keeps it nice and snug outwards. This is the proper way of setting up a step ladder. Do you see? Are you going to see people folding it into making almost like a straight ladder and resting it against some surface? No, this type of ladder is not supposed to be used that way. All right. All right, let's see if we can take a look at how do we choose the right ladder. So you go to some sort of a hardware store or some sort of distributor with all kinds of equipment. How do you choose the ladder for you and for the purpose of the job that you're going to perform? All right, choosing the right ladder. Before stepping onto a ladder, think about these things. Duty rating of a ladder, which means what capacity can it hold? We will expand on that. The height of the ladder. Is it too short? Is it too tall? And of course, we need to take a look at the condition of the ladder and instructions. Yes, there are some instructions unique to the ladder selected. All right, let's keep going here. Here's the duty rating. As far as the duty rating, here's the types of the ladders, duty rating, use, and load. All right, let's take a look at the bottom of the table. What does it say here? Select a ladder with the proper duty rating for your weight and the materials you're handling. So whatever is going to go on the ladder, it's not just your weight. It's whatever you hold it. If whatever you hold. That is also going to put some stress, gravitational stress on the ladder. All right, so there's a type 3, 2, 1, single A and double A. All right, type 3 ladder. Considered as a light duty household, and it's rated for 200 pounds. Well, I cannot use that ladder. All right, I just can't. Not allowed. Okay. It is designated for household use. So maybe, excuse me, once in 6 months or so, you're going to have to replace a light bulb in your bedroom or in your kitchen chandelier. You're going to take that ladder, put it up, step on it, use it, fold it back, and put it away. And maybe that ladder is not going to be used in the next month or so. It's a light duty usage. It is lighter in weight, so it's easier to carry from place to place. I would definitely not recommend using that ladder if you're working regularly on a construction site, that you're using that. This is one of your basic tools that you're using every day, all the time. You take that ladder on the construction site, this thing is going to fall apart on you after about 2 weeks. Well, maybe not 2 weeks, but it is going. But before it falls apart on you, it is going to become unsafe. Because those are not meant. These ladders are not meant to be used as often and as heavily as using it in a construction environment. Now, here is number 2, medium duty for commercial use. All right. This would be something that if you have a store and you have to go up and down to look at some, to tender some shelves or whatnot, well, you could use that ladder. I've seen some people using it in a construction environment, but they were very careful when it comes to how to treat that, how to step on it. It is lighter to carry. Well, and then sometimes people do fall for the convenience of things, because if you have to put the ladder up and take it down, put it up, take it down a million times a day, then, well, it's kind of doing a number on your muscles, right? So people go for the convenience of that. It could be used in construction environment. That depends on the situation. And it is meant for also 220, well, not 200 pounds, about 225 pounds. Sometimes I can use that ladder. Right? Now, here's type 1, heavy duty industrial. That's the one that I would recommend. Yes, it is slightly heavier to carry, but you get used to it. But how much is your life worth? Things can happen in a split second. There you go, you're down. Right? And then what? Right? So and when you step on this type of ladder, you feel a little bit more secure. You should never feel 100% secure. Just like, I can just drive like it's summer because I put winter tires and it's winter, so no problem, I'm equipped. No, even if you put the winter tires, it's still winter, it's still slippery on the road. You still should be way, way, way more careful considering some conditions than you would be in the summer. So same thing with this thing here. Just because you got heavy duty ladder doesn't make you completely safe. It is actually how you use that thing and how you conduct yourself. It also contributes to how safe you are, actually. Right? And as I said, well, never let your guard down. That's why we also had that safety lecture on common causes of accidents. If you didn't have enough sleep, if you don't feel up to par, well, sometimes maybe you should just call it a day and go home. Well, if you do this thing on a regular basis, then you're going to lose your job, right? But there's always a but. Right? So then there's 1A. Well, okay, this is okay. The number 1, it's rated for 250 pounds. Yes, I can definitely use it. Then here is, now mind you, this thing is you and the equipment you're carrying. A drill weighs whatever equipment, screws, nuts, and bolts. If you have it in a box, they do weigh certain things. If you're mounting something and you're holding whatever equipment, it adds to the weight that the ladder has to carry with you stepping on it and holding some things that also do have some weight. Right? So here's 1A, extra heavy duty, 300 pounds industrial. And here's the AA. These are heavy ladders, and some of the extra heavy duty and special duty, rugged, and industrial environment ladders. They sometimes require more than one person to actually set up. All right, so these are the specifications for the ladders duty ratings. So now you know. Right? Okay, where do you find those? Here's a step ladder and here's the extension ladder label. There are certain stickers. Well, first thing here will be a brand of that. You're looking for its ratings. This one is rated for 300 pounds. This is these are different types of ladders. Let me zoom in a little bit. I apologize for the quality of the picture. It's a bit, there's a bit of blurriness happening here. But, well, ladder size, duty rating, here is the weights. Now, ladder size, this is a 6-foot step ladder. Here's a 24-foot extension ladder. Maximum reach. Well, based on average height of a person. So this is a 6-foot ladder, which means the top cap is at 6 feet. But you're not supposed to be standing at 6 feet here, right? This would be a 6-foot. Now, if you look at those, if you count the steps, they are a foot apart. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be considered a 4-foot step ladder. And then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this one is going to be the last one. This is going to be the sixth quote unquote step, but it's not a step. Right? So if you have a 6-foot step ladder and you consider someone standing on this, because that's as high as we are, 1, 2, 3 here. Second last step, and if you consider the top cap as a step, it will be third last step. So just some people will call potatoes potatoes or tomatoes tomatoes, but this is the one here. Top cap 1, 2. That's when we're supposed to be standing. And if you consider an average height of a person, this would be, if it's a 6-foot step ladder, the maximum reach, it would be about, you can reach about 10 feet up in the air with your hands. Right? Highest standing level, 6-foot ladder, highest standing level, which would be your feet. The height of your feet would be 3 feet and 10 inches, almost 4 feet. Right? And here's the model ID number, so that's for the and then here is the scan code, scanning bar. Right? So look at those stickers, and he's going to tell you what the ladder actually is. All right. Let's keep going. Extension ladders. So we looked at the step ladder, which would be the inverted V type of thing. Now we're going to look at extension ladder. See, it has 2 sections. Here's a base and here's the flight section. And you can extend that. And now look, here's the ground level. If you're going on the flat roof here, remember we were talking about the ladder is supposed to be extending 3 feet above the landing surface. If you count the prongs, they're also foot apart. 1, 2, 3. So when you step on that, you have some sort of assistance with, not assistance. You get some way of keeping your balance still. If this thing was just touching it, there's a chance of, well, there's a risk of this thing going back and slipping and just going down, but it's so much more difficult to step on. Now, mind you, sometimes you're going to wear heavy clothes. It's going to be cold, so your hands are going to be a little bit colder, and that adds to the danger. And you'll be carrying some tool belts, maybe, or whatnot. It all contributes to the possibility of a fall. Right, so we should take all steps possible to prevent any kind of injury. All right, let's take a look at some anatomy of the extension ladder. All right, so there are 2 parts of extension ladder. If this was just one part without the fly section, just remove that, it would be considered as a straight ladder. But now you have two straight ladders, one on top of the other, and that can slide forward. So here is the base section, and here's the fly section. We do have a pulley system on the rope. So there's a bit of a pulley here. It's tied to this rung right here, because these are called rungs, not steps, in this extension ladder or straight ladder. And as you thread the rope through the pulley and you pull on that rope, it is going to pull the fly section up. And then if you go, and it does have rung locks, so it's going to click and lock. And if you want to take this thing down, you just go above the first, and the lock arranges itself in a certain way, so when you release the rope, it's the fly section is going to slide down under the gravitational pull. Right? Pretty good, pretty nice invention. This extension ladder. For transportation, of course, you retract that, and then you can extend that to be well, much longer than if you had just a straight ladder. Okay. All right. So what else here? We had a fly section. We had a base section. So here and here. Then we do have these are the slide rails. Slide rails. Rungs, these are the things you step on. Here's the anti-slip safety shoes or feet, and these are supposed to be used in a certain way, depending whether you're standing on a flat, hard surface, or some sort of a softer, untreated, well, maybe semi-treated surface, like ground outside in a construction environment. All right. And here we have the pulley thing. All right, let's keep going here. Proper ladder setup. Consider placement and pitch. What's a pitch? Pitch is the angle that the ladder is resting against whatever surface. It's called pitch. So consider placement and pitch of the ladder. Secure and stabilize the ladder. All right, there you go. Two things. As far as pitch, extension ladders should be used at 4-to-1 pitch. So with every 4 feet, we should have 1 foot away from the resting surface. So if we have 12-foot ladder, if this from here to here is 12 feet, then using the ratio 4-to-1, we should move the ladder away from the resting surface 3 feet. So then we get 4-to-1 ratio. Okay? If you have this base too close from the structure to the structure, you're going to put yourself in a danger of tipping backwards, because you are adding your weight, you're stepping on this, and the higher you go, you can actually pull on the ladder, and it's going to be so much easier to tip the ladder backwards. You won't have enough balance that way. If you put the ladder away from the surface, from the structure, too much, well, there is a chance of this top of the ladder not having enough grip on the surface, and it can actually slide down and slide away under your weight. Right? So 4-to-1 pitch is the best optimal solution here. So example, if it's a 20-foot height ladder, well, divide that by 4, so you should have 5 feet away from, in order to be properly, safely set up. And I'm just reminding that when I say it is safe, it doesn't give you the total freedom of doing whatever you want. You still should use common sense, and you still are responsible for your own safety as well. All right, here is the 3 feet above the landing surface. We already talked about that, so Here is the visual. When accessing another level, ladder must be extended at least 3 feet or 0.9 meters above the landing surface. Landing surface is the surface that you're stepping onto. To provide a handhold for getting on and off the ladder. It does make sense. There was, well, with so many years of experience that I do have working within different environments, did I have a chance to step onto something that wasn't quite up to par when it comes to this concept? Yes, and it did make me nervous. It's I didn't feel safe. I wasn't sure. I wasn't completely satisfied with the feeling of safety. So yeah, 3 feet, that's it. And of course you can see this is an extension ladder. What can we say? Here is the base section. Here's the fly section. Right. Rungs, side rails. Do we see the pulley? A little bit over there, maybe. Yeah. All right, secure and stabilize ladder. Extend continuing. So extension ladders should be secured at the top or bottom. Now, I can't change this text, but I'm going to advise you to say this thing should be not, or it should be and. All right, so consider that as and. So I'm going to see that, but I'm going to read it differently. Extension ladders should be secured at the top and bottom to prevent movement. The base of an extension ladder, must be secured in place by using the safety feet on the ladder or other effective means. Things have to be safe. Do not, if you have uneven ground, do not put bricks or any other paraphernalia to even out the level of the feet of the ladder, because it is not maybe, it will let go. You always, when you're on top of the ladder, you're not standing still, you're moving, and then you forget. You're going to get this sort of false sense of security that, yeah, you're standing on the ground, you feel quite sure with your feet on the ground. After a while, you become comfortable on the top of the ladder, and you're going to forget that the danger exists. You're going to move left, right, up, down, whatever, and it's going to cause the ladder to move in its base. And if you put some like a brick or something underneath the foot of the ladder, that thing is going to slip away from that, is going to slip off of that, and you're going to lose balance, and it's going to cause a fall. And just from the experience, it didn't happen to me, but I've seen few things that I'm trying to forget. When a human body falls onto the ground from 6, 7, 8 feet, there's a certain sound and certain sensations associated with that, as I said, I've seen a couple things, one or two, that I'm still trying to forget. So let that not be you. Right? Is that here? Yeah, okay. So, simple thing. If you can tie it off. If you can't, make a tie off. Make sure that the ladder has no chance of slipping. As far as the bottom of the ladder, if you use those feet, they might slide. Actually, those feet here, they are really good on hard surfaces. But when you're working on different sort of ground, maybe a little bit softer, they might not work properly. So you might have to use other effective means to tie off the ladder on the bottom. Remember, you're going to be walking up and down this ladder all day long. And at some point, you're going to get falsely confident that things are fine, and that's when accidents happen. Now, of course, this is an incorrect setup right here. Something's being propped. The foot is being propped with some way that it should not be. But here is a tie-off on the bottom here. I'm not sure what this is on the picture. I didn't take that picture. But that doesn't look, that looks like something is damaged here. It doesn't look like the foot. Or maybe this is the foot here. Yeah. Well, it's questionable. Although I can see a tie-off right here. This is definitely correct right here. All right. Now, secure and stabilize the ladders. All right, that's why I got the board here. Let me get this thing. Again, review from grade 12 physics. Let me choose the proper color and let me get a pencil here. All right, we got good line thickness. All right, grade 12 physics. You have an object on the ground, whatever it is. So the center of gravity of this object would be somewhere here. If you had a level hanging on the string, the center of gravity would be hanging somewhere here. Now, as soon as you tip the object a little bit, and this from here to here is the base of the object. Now also we have the base of the object from here to here. Right? And let's say the level here hangs about here. If you draw the line down, if the level doesn't go beyond the base, the object is not going to tip. But as soon, this is extreme. Here's the base. And as soon as the level goes beyond the base, beyond the base, if it's, then there's no maybe, no if, or whatever, it will fall. It's just a basic physics. All right. What am I doing here? There you go. All right, so let's see here. Here's you. Oops. Pencil. Here's you with a hard hat. Okay. Here's our torso. Da 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 da. Yeah. Here's our. All right. Now, you're going to have a belt. Most people wear belts. And here's a belt buckle. I don't know, with some Harley Davidson or Chuck Norris logo or whatnot. All right, so if you are on a ladder, let's say the ladder, and you're reaching over, and here is the base of the ladder. All right. For the most part, the belt buckle right here is pretty much considered our center of gravity. If the belt buckle here extends from the base of the ladder, the whole system with you on it is going to fall. Right? Here is some visuals. Right? So in order to extend some of the base, so that contributes to the base of the ladder. Yeah. Even though the base is on the bottom, the stabilizers can help you with that as well. However, Here is the rule. Do not let the belt buckle in a straight line leave the base of the ladder, although the stabilizers do help. Now, when it comes to uneven ground, this is a proper way of doing things. Here's a foot extension that we can use. Then you can level this thing properly. All right, go back to step ladders. Only use when fully open position on firm level ground. Fully open position, full level ground. What's the ladder here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's considered an 8-foot step ladder. What's the last? How high can we stand on this? Can we stand on this top cap? No. Can we stand on this step that's right below the top cap? No. This is as high as our feet should be on this step ladder. Can we stand on the back rails, on the back prongs here? No, these are just for support, for structural support of the ladder. And the braces, the cross braces, should be fully extended and locked. And one more thing. Sometimes these ladders are sort of flexible as far as they stand. Make sure that there's no any tension between the feet. There's no any deformation going on. Make sure that the ladder is standing firm on the ground. All right, so here, do not use a step ladder that is folded or in a leaning position. So if you fold that thing here and try to use it as a straight ladder, well, don't. Okay. How many slides do we have? Well, we do have a couple slides. Never sit or stand on the top 2 rungs. Consider work height when selecting the step ladder. Well, the 2 last bullet points here are pretty self-explanatory. Face the ladder when ascending or descending. Right? Face the ladder. Do not use as stairs. Do not face it away from the ladder when you're going up or down. Maintain 3 points of contact. You have 2 feet and 2 hands. At least 3 of them should be in contact with the ladder. It is going to feel weird a little bit because sometimes you might want to just be standing on 2 feet. There's 3 points of contact that should be kept. Keep your body centered. Never let your belt buckle pass either side rail. There you go. Maintain a safe position on a ladder. Continuing. Well, what do we see here? Fully secured, fully secured. You're not carrying any tools in your hands when you're climbing. You either use a tool belt or get a get a bucket or some sort of container on a rope, and then once you get into the landing surface, you pull that thing with you, for yourself, to carry the tools. Never climb or descend the ladder while you're having something in your hand. You're putting yourself in danger, and you might feel confident, yes, I can do it, but what happens, just remember, in this type of working environment, you're going to be working long hours, and sometimes you're going to be tired. So please try to develop. Even sometimes it doesn't make sense. You can do things faster and more efficient, but try to develop habits, because when you're getting tired, and you will, it's just a human nature, that we do get tired when we're working for some time, then your attention is going to slip. And when you develop proper habits, then the proper habits kick in and keep you safe. But if you develop bad habits, then when you're tired, then the bad habits are going to kick in and you're going to put yourself in danger. One last slide here. And of course here we can see 3 feet above and the correct pitch of the ladder. One last slide. when we are working with electrical things, think about it. Aluminum is a conductor. It can carry electricity. So when you're working with electrical stuff, just to be on the safe side, don't use the aluminum ladders. Use the fiberglass ladders because fiberglass doesn't conduct electricity. Okay, so this was the ladders. And next time we're going to see each other, we're going to take care of the scaffolds. All right. It is almost Friday. I know it's Monday, but it's almost Friday because every day is almost Friday. And I wish you the whatever. Okay. Good sailing. All right. Have a good week, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.